Good afternoon. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Unle, for having me here. And, today, I will give you a brief summary of my paper on the Rohingya issue. This is one of the major issues facing the Burma political transition today, and it's really essential to understand why has this Rohingya problem become intractable. Last year, around 700,000 Rohingya Muslims fled their home and village because of the brutal Burmese military clearance operation. In my paper, I examined the question, why has the Rohingya problem become such an intractable through the security lens? Before I go, let me explain briefly about the demographic and geographic information. This is Burma, located in Southeast Asia. We have 5 neighboring countries. The longest border with China, and then very long border with China, and very long border with India, and small border with Laos, and the smallest border with Bangladesh. This is the problematic area right now. The western coastal area, western coastal region is we call Rakhine State, and in northern Rakhine State, the brown area is mostly 75% of the Rohingya concentrated. We live in this area. Right now, the operation area. Then the rest of the Rohingya spread through around the country. Burma got independent from Great Britain since 1948, January 4. Then in 1962, the first military coup until 1988, and then 1988, the second time military coup again. So Burma has long experience, nearly 50 years of the military dictator until 2010. Then 2010, the military stepped back and held the election. Then they become the so-called civilian government. They re-elected, and according to the 2014 census, the total population of Burma is 51.5 million. And then in this Rakhine State, Rakhine Buddhist area, the Rakhine Buddhist population is more than 2 million. And then the Rakhine State Rohingya population is 1.1 million. This is estimated. Why is this estimated? I will explain you later. And these two persons are the 2 important leaders in Burma. She is a well-known Nobel Peace winner, Aung San Suu Kyi, right now de facto leader of the quasi-civilian government. But the most powerful person is this guy, and he committed crime. Right now, the senior general Myanmar. Then, I would like to explain briefly about the theoretical background of my paper so that you can easily catch what my message. And I use the securitization theory as a foundation of my paper. So, what is the securitization? Securitization is the labeling something as a labeling of a specific issue as an existential threat for a specific reference object. Then the audience accept these securitizing speech art. So it's really complicated, very difficult to understand. Okay, the securitization theory has, what I understand, 4 main components. The first one is who label something as a threat, who speak up, the actor. The second one, what is threat? The third one, who is threatened or who is objective to this threat? The fourth pillar is audience. Who is convinced to believe this securitizing speech act or discourse? So in this case, securitization theory is kind of negotiation or intersubjective between the actor and audience. For example, very obvious example is that in 2003, United States invaded Iraq. Before this invasion, the Bush government framed and Bush government's speech act like the "We are threatened," the United Nations national sovereignty is threatened. United Nations properties around the world is threatened. Democracy is threatened by Saddam Hussein and WMD and missile. So they speech act and reiterate. Then at least the majority accept it or even tolerate and convince. At that time they claim, so we cannot handle this issue by normal political way. So, and then they assert to have right to use the extraordinary measure to control these existential threats and protect the referent objects. In this case, referent object is national security, freedom, democracy, United States property, something like that. So this is obvious example. So I will present my paper. I will present the Rohingya issue based on these four main pillars: the actor, the audience, the referent objects, and speech act. The Rohingya has a long history of being politically, economically, and socially persecuted in Myanmar. I won't go into detail about this because I have limited time, and so that please feel free to ask me during the question and answer session. According to my argument, the Rohingya community have been securitized as an existential threat to the Burmese Burma for various reasons. Firstly, the Rohingya community was securitized as an existential threat to the sovereignty or territorial security of Burma by linking the Rohingya community throughout the contemporary history of the first Mujahideen rebellion in 1950s. The Myanmar nationalist elites always claimed that these Rohingya communities living in northern Rakhine State have always been secessionists. They always try to separate Rakhine State from Burma and as Bangladesh. This is speech act. So, second, the Rohingya community has also been securitized as an existential threat to the national security of Burma through the increasingly global threat posed by terrorism. And they always argue that not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims, and presenting regular news of Islamic terrorist attacks in other countries. In last decade, we saw always every day government newspaper. We saw this information every day. So we really familiar with this discourse, and we really internalize later. So the third, Rohingya community is also securitized as an existential threat to the societal security of Rakhine State and Burma by three main accusations. first one is prominent, the Myanmar nationalist elites always claim that the Rakhine community, Rakhine population is jeopardized by the mass illegal immigrant from Bangladesh as well as their uncontrolled population growth. So this is the first discourse. Second discourse, the prominent public figure always claim that these Muslim community are not adhering to the local culture and tradition, and even they cannot speak local language. So it is presented and perceived by the local Buddhist Rakhine people as a threat to their ethnic identity. The third, mostly the ordinary people always say that these Rohingya have a missionary, always try to increase their population through the missionary activities, through the intermarriage with non-Muslim women. And they have insidious plan to increase their population. They always accuse, and this is positioned as an existential threat to the Buddhist religious identity of Rakhine as well as Burmese society as a whole. So, fourth, finally, Rohingya community also securitized as an existential threat to the economic sector. This economic security, they was also framed as they was accused of supporting their own people in business dealing and also receiving funds from Islamic country for their missionary activities and the growth of their Islamic community. So, in this case, based on the previous but I mentioned before, this is threat, and this is four main reference objects. Rohingya is securitized based on these four main reference objects. And here is the speech art. They use this propaganda, they use this phrase. And I already said the actor performs speech art. This means the speech art may be verbally speech art or like the cartoon or picture or even the article, journal article, newspaper, everything can be as serve as the speech art in this case. So I have the 5 years experience of the social media monitoring. Since 2012 until before I came here, I monitor the social media. So I have the numerous kind of media framing. It is really strange. For example, the PARCC, named the Arkan Rohingya Salvation Army. This guy showed up last year, 2016, September, October. These guys showed up and then they attacked Burmese police outpost twice within the last year. But in this picture, they frame that linking with the Islamic terrorists, and then they also depicts the UN and other right group, because these groups always support the Rohingya. So they also portray they are supporter of terrorists like this. Very strong message in the Burmese society, because Burmese people are really mostly ignorant and also very peaceful people. So they sincerely believe they were threatened over time. very clear. In this case, this guy, I know this guy in the past. This guy was also pro-democratic movement. He involved and he was the prisoner, political prisoner. Right now, they all are the same voice against the Rohingya community. But in the past, they participate in the political movement. Okay, in this photo, they portray like the Osama bin Laden appearance, and okay, that's mentioned the Muslim in Burma. They give bribe to the general and they extract out the natural resource. It's funny, and then the very incendiary photo is like this. Burmese girl, they take Burmese girl. It is really shaking photo in society. This French page cover photo of the weekly journal. I took this photo. And this photo too, actually, we know Rohingya people fled their home by small rickety boat, and hundreds of Rohingya drowned in the Atman Sea. But in this photo, they believe Rohingya came to Burma. Opposite, totally opposite. But it's work in Burmese society. Many people believe Rohingya from Bangladesh, Bengali, came to Burma by boat. So, now I'm going to present how over time the Burmese military government securitized the Rohingya community, portraying them as an existential threat to the state and society. And then I go on to demonstrate how these narratives reproduce and reinforce as an horizontal and bottom-up securitization process. The securitization of the Rohingya community was started by power elites since decades ago. For example, in 1982, October 8, the former military dictator, General Win, gave a speech as a guideline for the new citizenship law, in which he openly mentioned that Muslims and Chinese people were not trustworthy, and so they should not deserve to be granted as full-fledged citizenship status and full rights. His words can be seen as the first securitizing speech act in this case. However, the Rohingya community has already been otherized before Ne Win's speech act through various policies which sought to restrict their community gradually. For example, in the past, the Burmese radio broadcast the Rohingya language program as a minority language program in Burma, but in 1964 they abruptly ceased this program. And later, the Rohingya gradually become an alien like this. This case is the precursor for further policy. And during 1990s, more intense and systematic securitization of the Rohingya became modus operandi of the state. By portraying the Rohingya as an existential threat for the four main reference objects I mentioned before, and the nationalist power elites moved the Rohingya issue from the normal political domain to under the national security agenda, so that we did not discard this issue in the normal politics. We already understand this is security agenda. Only high-level security personnel, they can manage, they can control, they can handle. So like this way. Then, as a result, the draconian policies were enacted against the Rohingya community, including birth control order, movement restriction, denial of healthcare service, and access to higher education. In addition, the special security force we call NASACA, only for this area, special security force was set up, and then they enforced these extraordinary measures very brutally sometimes, and so that the Rohingya community was essentially cut off from the other part of the country. They really isolated and then live in this area like a detention. They can go other place easily, and outside Burma and also inside Burma since that time. And they were legitimized under the argument of protecting state security. These draconian policies were legitimized under the argument of protecting state security. Then it also reinforced the growing perception of the Rohingya as an enemy others within the wider population over time. Then more recently, since 2012, anti-Muslim violence outbreak across the country, and at that time, the securitization process has become more socialized. The discourse about the Rohingya as an existential threat to Myanmar has also become embedded in the public process as well as public discourse. It means even everyday government newspaper, even the education, the diplomatic corps, political party, campaign, every day this discourse is really deeply embedded in this process. And they will portray high frequency from the power elites in the public domain without any challenges. So this phase I call the hyper-securitization phase. Really, totally different with the past. We heard every day about this issue, and even sometimes the children crying. At the time, the parents afraid, frightened the children. We call Bengali, we call Rohingya. So the children afraid, stop like this. So that they frame like a evil or very odious framing. In addition to the government and nationalist elites, a number of journalists in major newspapers, community leaders, the influential monks, and also academic and writers, and even the ordinary people bought into this securitization narrative. At that time, vilifying the Rohingya as less than human. They don't even think this human being like this at that time, hyper-securitization phase. And the presence of various actors has led to this horizontal, small-scale, top-down securitization process as well as horizontal process, horizontal securitization. I will explain you later with the photo. And the securitization process also became bottom-up when a number of Buddhist hardliners engaged in this securitization act, aiming at influencing the mainstream securitizing actors' role. For instance, during the before the 2015 election, the military-backed USDP, Union Solidarity and Development Party, at that time they are ruling party, and then NLD, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, National League for Democracy. Both parties didn't choose any Muslim candidate to run in the 2015 election because they want to avoid the public anger, and they just portray themselves in line with majority expectation. Another example is in 2014 we have the first census. We conducted the first census within 30 years. Before the census, Burmese government made agreement with the UNFPA. So UNFPA is sponsor. So they already agreed with the UNFPA to enumerate every resident around the territory. They will enumerate. Then, at the time, the Rakhine people perceived that this agreement threatened. This agreement is really bad because this means they recognize the Rohingya people as a Burmese resident. So a lot of the numerous public protests at that time across the Rakhine state. Every day public protests before the 2014 census. So that later the government agreed to support the Rakhine, the desire, and they exclude the whole Rohingya population from this 2014 census. So that at first I mentioned Rohingya population is just an estimated because they didn't enumerate at all. So it is obvious example of the bottom-up securitization process. Later, bottom-up means the actor follow the audience desire. They even try to themselves in line with the audience expectation. In this case. So the photo have too much words. I don't need to explain about this photo. Then here in 2012 October, the Rakhine nationalist monks held a meeting in capital city of Rakhine state. Afterward, they released a 10-point agreement and called on the Rakhine people not to serve food to these Muslim people, not to serve and even not to make any interaction with this Rohingya community. So, and then they also called to export every sympathizer of these Rohingya, export on the Facebook and punish. And even in the Rakhine state at that time, I have already at that time I always monitor the social media, so I have too much record at that time. And in Rakhine state, they spoke out openly against the selling food or interaction with these Rohingya people, and they claim that these Muslims are not human beings, so they should not deserve to consider under the human rights norms, and vilifying the Rohingya as subhuman. They explicitly express their willingness for Muslims to die of starvation at that time. So this guy, in August 2012, the photo spread on social media, and showing the Rakhine man experiencing a humiliating punishment. And a caption beneath the photo in social media, the caption beneath the photo reads, a man who buy or sell grocery to Kala in Nyebong Township on public display. A lesson for all Rakhine people to take. This is a caption on social media beneath this photo. And in this case, Kala is a string for you. It is the similar meaning of end wars in the United States. Derogatory term in Burma. They only mention these Rohingya and Muslim. They call Kala. Here also, it was happened in the Kyaw Township of Rakhine State. He also maybe also the served food to Muslims, so he was punished. And he was put on the women garment. We wear longi garment on his head. It is really seriously humiliated in Burmese society. Seriously and undignified as a man. Very serious punishment. This girl too, she was marched on the streets for public humiliating. This is very recently. When I'm here at the time, last year December, 2017 December, she was accused of selling goods to Muslims, and so the mob cut her hair and then hanging this placard and marching around the street like this. So it's me. These photos show how seriously the horizontal pressure, even I have I have very good Rakhine friend, but we love each other, we know each other, but when he come back to their society, their community, they don't dare to speak out. And they even don't want to challenge the discourse because they're afraid of even community pressure, very seriously, like this. That's really recently, because of the current operation, the Burmese government and military face the international pressure, so that public always they show their support of this operation. So in this case, the more they show their support, the government difficult to start back. The government tried them to fulfill or in line with the public support in this case. They always frame the issue like the sovereignty or terrorism, like this. They always frame the issue so that the humanitarian issue, they do not see this is humanitarian issue. They just see this is threat. Why international community said this is human right? This is terrorist issue. This is sovereignty issue. So they always frame like this. They sincerely express their fear because they already internalized for within 30 years of propaganda. They really believe they are threatened. All around the world try to conquer our small country and destroy our Buddhist country. They sincerely believe this fear. Like this, that's true. UN, world media, terrorists, ARSA, OIC, all are the same intention to destroy Burma, to conquer Burma like this. They frame. This is really strong in Burmese society. So to answer my question, why has the Rohingya problem become such an intractable? According to my analysis, there are three main reasons for the particular difficulties of desecuritization of the Rohingya community. Firstly, the internalized perception of the enemy others. The internalized perception of the enemy others and zero-sum mentalities cultivated by long-lasting othering policy makes this desecuritization also securitized. This means even the actor even willing to desecuritize, they can because of the bottom-up pressure. Desecuritization even securitized. For as long as the body's majority's negative perception of the Rohingya remain unchanged, it is necessary for the perpetuation of the ontological security. This means ontological securities means the stable mental state derived from the sense of continuity of the individual's experience. And secondly, as the securitization of the Rohingya community becomes socialized, the security concern is never contained in one sector. It means security concern is never contained in one sector. They can spill over. So, if the actor can remove this security threat from all referent objects, if they can eliminate it, it is possible. Or if they can, all referent objects, they can eliminate it. It is not successful. It means all or nothing environment. I mean, if the source of threat is not completely eliminated from all sectors of society, the actor will be unwilling to attempt to desecuritize because of the horizontal or peer-to-peer pressure, and because too risky or too costly for them. And last but not least, the above-mentioned securitization process. The above-mentioned securitization takes place in various modes by multiple actors, and the securitization of the Rohingya community is self-reinforcing, in the sense that the longer they remain unchallenged or enjoying strong supports, making it much more easier to challenge them or even remove them from the social and political routines. Therefore, desecuritization is much more difficult. So, based on these three analyses, I would say the securitization of the Rohingya community become the proper and rational option for many political leaders and public in Burma. That's all. Thank you so much.
So can you comment on the Burmese government's recent initiative where they're saying that they're going to repatriate or allow 600,000 Rohingya to return? How does that connect with what you just said?
They already committed serious crime, and also within the country they didn't desecuritize move. I mean, they didn't do anything about the desecuritized move, so that the community don't accept every decision to allow repatriation. Then the second thing is they didn't do the proper measure to accept, to allow their repatriation. They just, yeah, we are welcome, return back. But actually, according to the information, they only constructed very big camp. So why these refugees, why they come back for this camp? Because I already presented last 2012. At that time, serious anti-Muslim violence across the country, in Rakhine State too. At that time, 150,000 Rohingya were displaced from the city, and still now, they are living in the squalid detention camp. I arrived last year. I met with them, and I conducted interview. Seriously, very dirty, very dangerous area. People were hopeless, desperate. They can kill other people easily. And very dirty. Every day children will die because of diarrhea. And many the pregnant women will die because of lack of medical assistance, like this. So, in this case, even the Burmese government didn't resolve these problems. So, how the refugee right now in Bangladesh, how they believe to return back Burma? They only constructed very big camps for 30,000 people. It is like the cattle. It is not really house, because in the past they have own house, own farm. All are right now. That's right.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. This Rohingya issue is, I think, one of the very serious type of that dehumanization, that inhuman treatment in the human history. I have also gone through some of the literature. And since you have long that experience and you have been gone through all this process, so what do you think the best way for the Rohingya people, when there is a talk about that returning back to the Rohingya again to the Myanmar, I think even they have a very serious problem, as you mentioned, the same way. What do you think will be the best solution for these more than 1 million Rohingya people who are suffering from that type of a crisis? What should the international community like the UN have to do in this case?
Yeah, very good question, and very big question for me, and honestly, and I understand in your question two parts, the domestic and also international. Domestically, the government must change their attitude first, because right now, because of the government, we cannot do anything successfully. Any NGO, UN, the civil society, we have too much civil society and international organization, UN, but nothing. It is just for show, because of the government attitude. And also they must goodwill, benevolence to move forward to find out this sustainable solution. For example, they must change the educational system. This is like a the long-term solution. And also, they must change immediate situation right now. It's in our country, I already presented the citizenship issue since 1982 started. This citizenship issue is really ridiculous and very strange issue. Strange because according to the law, this citizenship law, the authority can select it, authority can allow everybody who belong to Burma or who not belong to Burma. Only the group of the committee, they can consider, they can decide. So that they excluded many people from the citizenship. And like before this citizenship law, the Rohingya were the full citizen. At that time, only one citizenship, like United States, only one citizenship. All are citizens at that time. But after this law, we have three citizenship, three kind of citizenship: full-fledged citizenship, associate citizenship, naturalized citizenship. Very ridiculous. They stratify the society layer by layer. So this society even divided, and this is like long time it became the structural violence. They cannot really bind it each other because privileged people, they always, we are indigenous, we are full-fledged citizenship. And then neutralized citizen, these are the immigrant like this. So the government must change these kind of structural violence immediately. The international community, I think, two ways. First one, incentive. The international community give incentive to move forward the government. And the second is they also securitize the Burmese government. Like, for example, responsibility to protect. This already, we have this situation. If you don't do anything, we don't have any option rather than this situation. So I mean, this is not really performed, but it like securitized. Okay. Go on.
Yeah, thanks so much. That was very interesting analysis. Just for information, I'm from High State. I'm Buddhist, and I know the situation from what I've done. That was very interesting analysis, even though I don't really necessarily agree with some of them. I think one thing that international community and other media actually take so much for granted is the term Rohingya. When we say the term Rohingya, it was almost unargued. You don't question that. But the origin of this term Rohingya itself is very political and very politicized to the point where people start to do such type of securitization. Because this term was not heard until 1940s, and it is very much associated with the separatist movement of Mujahideen. They actually publicized it, and then this become like and the Muslims living in the Rakhine State don't necessarily identify themselves until very recently as Rohingya. This becomes very politicized because my ex-wife used to live. It's going to be a little long, but I don't really want to talk everything I want, but just want to share something because she has lived with this Muslim women in the family, like friends, they're really good friends, and then because of this communal violence, they were unfortunately put in camp, and then she always identified herself as a Muslim only, and she doesn't really. But after she is in the camp, after meeting lots of those, she was sort of indoctrinated as a Rohingya, and she identified herself. So what I want to say actually is that this term itself actually makes people think that they just create a new term just because they want to like sort of influence the country, like invade or take. I don't know. It is as part of your analysis as well. So that's the reason why in 2004, because I was working in the ministry when these things happened with UNOHCHR Yeah. It is not that the government actually refused to enumerate them. It is just that if you use the term Rohingya, if you have to include it as ethnicity, then they will not be like enumerated because we don't recognize it, right? So whoever actually agreed to participate in the census were actually enumerated, no matter they're Muslim, Christians, or other ethnicity. So that was actually the case. It is not that they're completely like, excluded from the enumeration of the census. And but the main focus I want to do is that this emergence of this term Rohingya, which is very political, which is very contagious, and this narrative is actually very strong in the country to the point that, but in here and outside the country, it goes almost unargued. It's not questioned because they have the right to be called whatever they want. But Burmese people think that this term is like has a lot of hidden political agenda. Maybe through the securitization of the term, I don't know, but
yeah, that's really securitized.
That issue, so this term, I always like avoid using that word.
Because thank you for your comment. I have some primary source of document. 1797. The Dr. Francis Buchanan, who arrived Burma and conducted the dialectical research. At that time, in his the article, in his book, the Asia State Research Society book, I have this book. He met with Rohingya from Burma, from Arkan state. He wrote clearly about this, so that Rohingya, I had Rohingya created in 1950. It is not true because
I actually have read that book as well, but the thing is that the Rohan, he actually refers to Rohan, but at that time, Rohan is actually the word that is said in Bangladesh to refer to people living in Rakhine, not necessarily an ethnic city. It is just like a
yes.
For example, for Chinese, we Burmese people call the yoke. It's just like that. That's my understanding.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ethnicity is fluidity. Ethnicity is not stagnant. So every day we can create new ethnicity. This is identity. Less 10 years ago, I'm not doubter, I'm not the MAIR student. Now, I have two ethnicity more than less 10 years. Like this, ethnicity is, the identity is not stagnant. So, since that time, the term Rohingya, they use the term. So, over time, this term can be, because of the condition, this term can be politicized or this term can be obscure. Maybe because during 1950, 1948, at that time, we are decolonization period all around the world. The India also, the nationalist movement, Burma, around the world, decolonization period. At that time, the autonomy is the practical political movement for every ethnicity. In Burma, many ethnicities claim their own country, but the Aung San Suu Kyi father, he made agreement with many ethnicities, and he have the independence from Britain as a whole country. But later, the country was not become the federal country, so that still now we have a lot of the ethnic armed force.
I wanted to ask, so you've talked about how people are ostracized if they seem to be come out and maybe even question the government on the stake that they're taking in the position towards the Rohingya people. Is there maybe like additional threat to you as a person if you did seem to be getting international support, to be supporting the Rohingya? So how is that situation? Besides the society walking you in the walk of shame with the fact that is there anything more in terms of threat?
To me or
To people on the ground who are questioning the situation as it stands and calling out the violence?
that's really tough because still now 2 reporters were arrested. They are not Muslim, they are not Rohingya. They exposed the Rakhine State issue for the AP news. They have some photo for the massacre killing 10 Rohingya people, and they exposed these news. And right now they were arrested and even maybe 14 years in prison or more. So it's mean government and also the bureaucrat, they always see under threat or in suspicion. They always suspected working with the international community, international group, or meeting with the diplomat. I always met diplomat. When they came to Burma, they called me and then can you meet with them? So my phone is always recorded and my phone is always interrupted at the time. I noticed that.
So I know that there are other questions, but unfortunately we are out of time today. So perhaps, Kyaw, you might be willing to stay around for a couple more
Yeah,
minutes.
so if you have any questions, you can send me email or feel free to send me email because we have limited time so that.
Well, thank you all for coming, and let's give one more round of applause.